Sunday afternoon, Drew Lock and the Denver Broncos finally made their way to Gillette Stadium for their long-awaited matchup with Cam Newton and the New England Patriots. And thanks to a record-setting day by Broncos kicker Brandon McManus, the Broncos made the wait worthwhile, leaving Foxborough with a dub for the first time since 2006. 18-12, the final score. Welcome back for another edition of Broncos Beat. I'm Alexis Perry, joined by none other than James Palmer from the NFL Network, Cecil Lammey from 104.3 The Fan, and Ryan Koenigsberg from DNVR. You guys, we spent 17 days anticipating and previewing this matchup between the Broncos and Pats, but I don't think any of us at any point said that there would be just one touchdown scored in this game. It wouldn't be by the Broncos, and they would beat the Patriots on the road anyways. That's the kind of game this was, and it was Brandon McManus who earned the game ball after nailing all 6 field goal attempts for all 18 points, including 2 from over 50 yards out. You guys, could he have been any more clutch on Sunday?
Well, I'll jump on this because I was a kicker in high school, Alexis, so I love talking about kickers. So I'll just be the one to throw myself in the mix here. And what he did in a stadium that is very difficult to kick in. I've spent a lot of games there and a lot of big games there over the years. And kickers that I've talked to hate kicking at Gillette Stadium. It has an open air one side, the other side is closed. So the wind, in a sense, moves in a circular direction through the stadium. It is a very difficult place to kick, arguably the most difficult. And to do what Brandon McManus did is a really, really remarkable feat in a sense. And when you look at what the Broncos did, you relying on him. Bill Belichick, 39-0, guys, going against teams that don't score a touchdown in his career. Well, because of Brandon McManus, now it's 39-1.
You guys, given the circumstances surrounding this game, the multiple postponements, the adjustments that had to be made, the adversity that this team has just faced as a whole this season, can you put into perspective just how big of a win this is over the Patriots?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I mean, this is a season-saving win. You know, like this team could have been 1-4, staring down the barrel at 1-5, and it would have been over. And they go out there in, against all odds, as massive underdogs, 10.5-point underdogs at one point, and they pull this one off. And not only does it bring them confidence, not only do they get a jolt from getting Drew Lock and Phillip Lindsay back, but just, the belief that they have to now have a chance to go to 3-3 this week. They'll be huge underdogs again. But even if they don't have that one, they still have an ability to get the season back rolling. 1-5 really would have been an impossible scenario to get anything out of this season. But because they go and get that gutsy win, this thing's still alive.
I'll rip off a quote from one of my favorite movies, Sweet Home Alabama, because do we know, momentum is what you're building up. And Ryan points out everything. I mean, Ryan gave you the answer. This is a momentum building win, a confidence building win that didn't go perfectly, that you can take a lot of lessons from, lessons we will talk about. But this is a learning moment, a teachable moment, a momentum building moment. It's a really strong win for the Broncos.
Wrong movie, Cecil. Wrong movie. My good buddy Bob Neal was the broadcaster in the movie The Program, where he goes, Mr. Momentum is changing his field. Yeah, this is huge. And I look big picture, guys, right? How much do I talk about 2021? How much do I talk about moving forward?
All the time.
Hit the nail on the head, right? About what this does for them in this season. But I'll go a step further and say, as Vic Fangio told us after the game, you do have to learn how to win games. And this is a young team, and they're learning how to win games. And games like this, in an environment and in a spot where you're not supposed to win, and going to Foxborough where so many teams struggle, specifically teams with a young quarterback, cannot really come out with a W out of there. I think this is going to last longer than we probably expect. And I think it's bigger than most people would assume in terms of this organization and the young leaders, Alexis, that they have that they want to rely on. This was very, very big moving forward, even past this season.
Well, RK mentioned Drew Lock's return to the field. Guys, his stat line, when you look at it, it looks rough, but I really don't think those numbers are indicative of what we actually witnessed on Sunday. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. In the end, you get in scoring position 6 times now. You had a couple turnovers that helped that, but Drew moved the ball, and then the drops from his wide receivers and tight ends really, really hurt that stat line. I went in today just for fun to see what that stat line would have looked like if you just take away the 4 biggest drops. There's 1 from Judy, 2 from Albert O, and 1 from Deshaun Hamilton late in the game. If you eliminate those, you're talking about 14 of 21, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then I might even take away the interceptions too, because you're up 33-9 late in the game. You're probably not throwing the ball. So those drops made a massive difference. It's why you have to watch the game. You can't just look at the stat line.
Well, and here's what makes the most sense. James was a kicker. That makes a lot of sense, buddy. I was a quarterback, okay? And as a passer, what I always talk about, your footwork. Drew Lock showed improved footwork. He was dropping dimes out there. His guys weren't coming through for him. Now, I have to go back and watch where he was at in the play clock in terms of the time of when he called and when he'd actually call for the snap, because your coach can talk to you up to 15 seconds. You saw Drew Lock change some plays. You saw him change some coverages, right? And kind of audible at the line of scrimmage. All these things are very good, but is Shermer telling him that, or is he making those decisions? These are things that we need to continue to learn. But again, teachable moments. He kept going for it, being aggressive. He's a gunslinger. But is he going to be Derek Carr, or is he going to be Brett Favre, or is he going to be somewhere in between? That's what we have to find out. So this was a good game. And be damn anyone who says, oh, Drew Lock, awful game. They're just looking at the box score. Watch the actual game. You see improvement from this young quarterback in areas where we need to see the most improvement: touch, timing, and footwork.
Roast on Derek Carr. He slayed Goliath the other day, took down the Chiefs, but okay, I see you, Cecil. All right. But really, I look at Drew Lock and I think what he brings to the game. It's that swagger, it's that confidence that some of these guys really rally around, and he galvanizes a game. And I think that extra aspect of it is a part that was overlooked when he was gone. And I think we talked a lot about some of the energy, Alexis, right? And those games where we're going, where is it? Well, Philip Lindsay comes back, he comes back. And I think those are the guys that bring that kind of swagger to it. And Cecil's right. It's what he does and how he operates is what we're trying to see, the growth in Drew Lock. But at the same time, I liked 3 straight drives where you had 13, 12, and 15 play drives. That's great. Those eat up the clock. You can't get to the 2 and the 8 and not operate in the red zone and get 6. That's the negative. The other aspect of it is you can't finish the game with 4 plays of field goal, 3 and out, interception in a close game. He has to learn how to finish in a sense. I think if you have Melvin Gordon on the field with Philip Lindsay, maybe that changes a little bit. But I just think that swagger that Drew brings to a game, we saw that come back when we've talked so much in the past about lack of energy.
Speaking of Philip Lindsay, 23 carries, 101 yards. The Broncos are now 6-0 when he rushes for over 100 yards. Coincidence, RK?
No, not at all. I mean, we've known this for a long time. Philip Lindsay, especially when you don't have Cortland Sutton out there, he's the most explosive player on this offense. And what he does for a team, not only, just running the ball, but the energy he brings, the effort that he brings, the swagger that he brings. When he gets going, the whole team can feel it, offense and defense, and it just lifts them up a little bit. So it's not a coincidence at all. And also I believe they're 9-3 when he gets 15 or more carries. So, he is the heartbeat of the offense. And when he's going, everyone's going.
Okay, really quick, you guys, before we go to break, let's all say it together. Albert Okwuegbunam, right? We got it. Perfect. Excited to see him and Noah Fant on the field together here, hopefully really, really soon. That will be a dynamic duo. But we saw some great things from the offense. It was the defense that actually sealed the win for the Broncos in Foxborough. We'll discuss who and what stood out Sunday coming up on the other side of the break.